Yes, I didn't just heckle Castro. I wanted that on the record. He's trying to be the best Stanford person in this race, and it's problematic for me. It's really good to be here, and I just have to say the excitement and enthusiasm we've been finding all over the state is incredible. And that's what we're going to need, because this is not just about one office and one position. This is really about winning a lot of seats. And we have two great congresspeople here that I'm going to do everything I can to help get reelected. And of course, my friend, Jeanne Shaheen, who is one of the great leaders in the Senate. We're going to fight for her as well. And this kind of grassroots energy, and I think you all are seeing it, a sold-out arena, is really exciting. And this is what we're going to need all around the country. I remind people all the time that Donald Trump got less votes than Mitt Romney did. The issue wasn't him beating Democrats or our candidates. The issue was us coming out and making sure we do that. We must have in this race, at the top of the ticket, a candidate that can energize, that can excite, that can bring enthusiasm, that can unify the Democratic Party. And one of the reasons I'm running is because I believe strongly I'm the candidate to do that. So with that, have at me. The gentleman in the back, yes, sir?
The enthusiasm was there for you this morning, but it's not reflected yet in the polls here.
Thank God it's not reflected yet. And I mean that seriously, because we have never had a candidate who was ahead in the polls this far out who's ever gone on to be president. We know that the candidates that win from our party, that energize the kind of movement elections we want to see, are folks that were considered long shots at this point. Carter, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama were all behind. Barack Obama was behind in African-American voters at this point. We do not want to win the summer news cycle. We want to win the first in the nation primary right here in New Hampshire. And I believe what you're seeing with our election consistently is the more and more people get exposed to us. Incredible debate performance where focus groups that some of the networks here said that I won. Moments like this where people see my capacity to ignite a crowd. We know that over time, we are going to emerge as the nominee from this party. Polls have never been predictive this far out. What is kind of organizations you have on the ground. And I hope you take time to speak to people in Iowa, speak to people in New Hampshire. We have more endorsements in this state than any other candidate, because politicos who know in this state want to be with somebody who's going to win and bring the right message. We have more endorsers in Iowa than the top 4 or 5 pollers combined. Because again, people who know politics, know what our party needs, and want to be with the winner are with our campaign. So I feel very good about where we are right now, and you are welcome to go to corybooker.com and make a contribution.
Senator Booker, you said in your remarks today that we can't tolerate Democrats who will go against other Democrats and try to tear us down. But not too long ago, you called former Vice President Biden an architect of mass incarceration. So what is the line? What is acceptable and not acceptable? What's policy? What's personal?
One second, let me just mock some horror. No, look, I think pointing out differences is okay. I'm talking about what we've seen in the past election, where you had Democrats literally, even after the primary was over, trying to tear down the nominee of our party. The kind of cheap shots, the kind of attacks that we should not tolerate right now when we need to make sure we're building towards unity. So I'm excited. I sounded that message on the debate stage again and again and again, reminding people that the differences between us are small compared to the gulf between this party and where Donald Trump is. I think there's a big gulf between where National Republicans are and Donald Trump is. This is a president that is taking us to very dark places that, frankly, I hear from people my age thinking that we thought this was our problems of past generations, not the kind of divisiveness, degrading, demeaning comments that we're seeing coming from this president. So for me, one of the most important themes in this Democratic primary must be who is the best candidate to unite the Democratic Party and to be able to help to unite the country. I am confident that I'm that person, and that's why I continue to sound that note.
So have you seen any of that tearing down so far in this primary, though? Are you warning about something that you're already seeing, or you're just only looking towards past elections?
Next question.
Yes. You mentioned briefly low voter turnouts. How are you planning on getting young college-age voters to the voting booth this time around?
Look, we've got to make sure, and by the way, I'm extraordinarily excited that right now we're seeing college-age and high school-age young people lead. Their activism, what I've seen since Donald Trump was elected, has only been rising. And when you have the awful costs of college tuition now, when you have a party that's denying science and that the urgency of climate change even exists, I've seen military reports about what's going to happen in the next 25 years, when, as another one of my colleagues says, I will still be younger than the President of the United States. We have an urgency that young people get, and their activism is incredible. I think we have a candidate that can resonate with that spirit, that youth and that energy. I believe that we are going to be incredibly fine with young Americans. And they, especially a candidate that trusts them and understands that they must lead.
Senator,
Yes.
you released an aggressive plan on gun control and gun violence. I'm curious where you stand on the issue of a mandatory buyback of assault weapons. Do you support that idea?
Yeah, I've said time and time again, I support that. I support gun licensing. I support banning assault rifles. These aren't radical ideas. These are evidence-based measures that we know work. We had machine guns in the 80s. We said we need to get these off the streets. Well, you know what? They've gotten off the streets. We accomplished that. Other nations have said we're going to ban assault rifles and buy them back. They've accomplished that. We can't let the corporate gun lobby tell us what's possible. We can't let the NRA tell us what's possible. Most Americans believe in common sense gun safety. This isn't a partisan issue. Overwhelming majorities. When I came out and said gun licensing, I was criticized by some people in the Democratic Party primary field that said I was going too far. And now we see them moving on board, and now we see polls showing that over 80% of Americans believe in things that this is common sense. You need a license to drive a car, you should have a license to buy and possess a firearm. So I think that this debate is about the ideas that will work, but it's also about having a leader that this is going to be a central purpose. And the reason why I'm that leader is because what we don't talk about enough in this country is that the majority of people being killed in this country are people in communities like mine. African-American males are the majority of the homicide victims in this nation. And I live in a community where people don't need to be convinced about what common sense is. I live in a community where we see shrines to children who've been murdered on our sidewalks. I live in a neighborhood where young people I watch grow up are now murder victims. And so I'm going to come into the White House with a sense of conviction on this issue and a drive and a purpose to unite this nation, to call to the conscience of our country so that we can do the things to end the nightmare, which is a uniquely American nightmare. We will stop that under my leadership.
Last question. One more question.
Yes,
Senator,
please.
You said the last debate for you was incredible. Are you feeling more pressure ahead of this next debate? And do you think, given the poll numbers, that your rivals on that stage are underestimating you?
Look, what is pressure? Pressure is not running for President of the United States. I'm sorry. I go back to my community and I see pressure. I see pressure when people are afraid to send their kids to school. I hear that in New Hampshire. I hear that in Iowa. I hear it in South Carolina. Pressure is not knowing how you're going to pay your medical bills, not how you're going to afford your insulin. I have the incredible privilege. If you had gone back in time and talked to like 17-year-old me and said, hey, one day you're going to be running for President of the United States, this is one of the greatest. My father would be shocked if he was alive, that growing up in a Jim Crow South, when this country, when the thought of an African American working for a major corporation seemed to be impossible, and he was a trailblazer that helped that happen. I am blessed to get this privilege to compete for the highest office in the land. Going on the stage, my obligation to the American people is to show them my heart, to show them my spirit. We have incredibly good candidates. This is a crisis of abundance we have here in really good candidates. And so what I want to show folks is what makes me distinctive. My spirit, my energy, my call to this country that understand that the lines that divide us are nowhere near as strong as the ties that bind us. My mission as President of the United States is to put more indivisible back into this one nation under God so that we can achieve liberty and justice for all. That's my job in this debate, and I'm going to have fun up there, as I did in the last debate. I promise, no Kool-Aid comments, but I'm gonna relax, have fun, let people see the truth of who we are, because I trust the American people. I trust if they see an authentic spirit who wants to heal, who knows the basic goodness and decency of Americans, doesn't want to just vilify people because they vote different than us. Our party has to really, in this moral moment, our party has got to be the party that's not just trying to beat Republicans. We need to be the party that's speaking to the larger spirit of this country and be about uniting Americans again in the cause of justice and expanding opportunity. Because when I go around and talk to people, people don't care about partisanship. They care about their families. They care about having justice in this country. They care about opportunity. They care about how we seem to be having an impotency of empathy in America right now, where we don't even see the struggles of someone who's struggling with addiction, or a senior citizen whose Social Security checks so low they're struggling with poverty, or teachers who are incredibly going back to into school in a nation right now where we tell our teachers and our children, we can't protect you, we can't get these guns off the streets, we can't keep them out of the hands of bad people, so go to school and learn how to hide. This is a moral moment. It is not a partisan moment, and we need a healer. After this guy who's dug such deep wounds into the spirit and the values and the virtues of our nation, we need somebody who's going to come forth and to be able to heal this country, remind us of our common cause and our common purpose. If I can get up on the debate stage, just be myself, that's my spirit, that's my energy, that's one of the great purposes of my life. That's why my book, literally, that I wrote years ago is entitled United. This is what we need right now in this country. And I'm going to say this over and over again from a debate stage, from town hall meetings, from people's living rooms, that this is a time for this country not to fall apart, but to stand and work and fight together.
Thank you. Thank you. We gotta go.
Sorry about that, everyone. Take care now.
Corey, can we do selfie?